I still don't know why it is so bright. I mean, so dark in here. It's really bright in here, but it's not picking up on the camera. I'm sorry about that, guys. I also want to say thank you to all of the new subscribers. It means a lot. It really does, because, you know, when you get into this thing, you don't think that people will watch you. I don't know why, but it really means a lot. Thank you guys for subscribing and sharing and liking and viewing the video. Really, thank you. And Happy New Year to everyone. I'm sorry I didn't say that to begin with. Happy New Year. I'm hopefully going to have a lot more uploads and a lot more projects for you guys and things like that. So please stay tuned. So for the torso, you are going to use your 5mm hook, and the head is green and the torso is green. And I'm going to tell you the colors of everything because I'm doing all of this in green. So, but it's different colors, but the head and torso are still green. So we're on the torso now, taking your 5mm hook, and you're doing a magic circle, and you're going to go into the hook, yarn over, pull through one, and you're going to do 10 single crochet into, move it down, you're going to do 10 single crochet into the magic circle. So single crochet, let me show you how to do that. Go around, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all two, go in. This is basically the stitch if you think about it. Go in, yarn over, pull through those things, pull through that, yarn over, pull through two. What is that? 1, 2, was that 2 or 3? I can't tell. I think it was 3. Let me see. 1, 2, yeah, it was 3. Anyway, 10 single crochet into the magic circle. So after you're done with your 10 single crochet, and you're just going to pull the string to tighten it. You're going to go into the first stitch that you made. Oh, that is really blurry. Let me make sure you can see that. The first stitch that you made, which would be this one here. And you're going to go through and do a slip stitch. Oops, excuse me. Do a slip stitch. And I don't know why I'm adding my stitch marker. I really don't. But I'm going to anyway. So you're going to chain 2, but I'm putting my stitch marker in my chain 1, and then chain 2. And the starting row, you are going to half double crochet in, half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So you're not going into the same stitch, you're just going into the next stitch this time. Not like the head where we were going into the same stitch to line it up. You're just going into the next stitch. So half double crochet, like I've shown, in the next 2 stitches. So this is the first stitch, this is 1, and then the next stitch, which is 2. So you did your 2 stitches, 1, 1, 2, and then you are going to do a half double crochet increase, or an increase, which is just a half double crochet just twice, like we've been doing. So you're going to do an increase in the next stitch. Now there's your increase here. There's your increase. And then you're going to half double crochet again in the next 2 stitches. So this is 1 and then 2. So 1, 1, 2. And then you are going to do a half double crochet increase again. So that's 1, 2. There is your increase. And then you are going to do a half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. and then you are going to do a half double crochet increase in the last stitch. So 1 and 2. That's your starting row. Wait, did I do that right? 1, 2. Alright, so that is the starting row. So you're going to go in, slip stitch into the top stitch here. You don't slip stitch in the, you don't need a stitch marker. You slip stitch into the top stitch. I don't know why I put that in there. So chain 2 again. And for row 1, you are going to, come on stitch marker. For row 1, you are going to chain 2 again. You're going to half double crochet in the same stitch this time. So now we're lining it up. So you're going to half double crochet to the same stitch that you chained the 2 or 3, and you are going to half double after you do your half double crochet in the same stitch. You're going to do a half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. After you do your half double crochet in the next 3 stitches, you are going to do a half double crochet increase. Right? There's your increase there. After your half double crochet increase, you are going to do a half double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you are going to again do a half double crochet increase in the next stitch after your 4 half double crochets, your increase. And then you are going to half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2. And then you're going to do a half double crochet increase in the next stitch. 1, 2. And then you're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. Oh, just a half double crochet. And then in the last stitch, you are going to do a half double crochet increase. Excuse me. And that is row 1. Said this is just the demo version, so I'm not going to show you everything, because once you get up to these rows, you know, it's fairly easy because you're doing the same thing over and over again. So for rows 2 through 7, you are going to half double crochet in every stitch around, and you're going to continue to go into the same stitch to line it up, and then you're just doing a half double crochet in every stitch around for rows 2 through 7. Now I'm going to do this row, but like the head, we're just going to pretend that we did all the rows. Since it's I'm not doing all the rows, I'm doing, like I said, demo version of it. So I'm going to do this full row, but obviously when you do all of it, it's going to be bigger. So now, after you do your rows 2 through 7, like I said, I'm just doing 1 for this one. You are moving on to row 8. You are going to chain 2, and you're going to do 2 decreases in the beginning and end of the round, and half double crochet in between. So again, like I said, a decrease takes up 2 stitches, so you're not going to go into the same stitch this time because you're decreasing. So you're going to go into the next stitch and act like you're going to do a double crochet, so yarn over, pull up 1. Going to go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up 1, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all, all 4. Since it's 2 decreases, you're going to do that again. So yarn over, go through the stitch, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, go through the next stitch. Oh, come on. Yarn over to go through the next stitch, yarn over, pull through another one, yarn over, pull through all 4. Now that's your 2 decreases there. Then you're going to half double crochet in every stitch around, and since it's 2 decreases, you're going to half double crochet until you get to your last 4 stitches. Okay, so when you get around, leave 4 stitches open at the very end. Alright, I'm at my last 4 stitches. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, again, doing your decrease, go in, yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, 4 loops, yarn over, pull through all of them. Again, yarn over, that's your first decrease, yarn over, go through the next stitch, 3, go into the other next stitch again, yarn over, 4 loops, yarn over, pull through all 4, and slip stitch into that top stitch. So, for rows, for rows 9, what is the world is going on here? For rows 9 through 10, you are going to half double crochet in every stitch around. So again, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my stitch marker back in the stitch, but just a half double crochet in every stitch around, and this time again you are going to go back in to line it up. So go back into the same stitch, line it up, and you're going to do a half double crochet all the way around, 1 half double crochet in every stitch for rows 9 through 10. Alright, I only did row 9, but as you know, I'm going to do both rows 9 through 10 and slip stitch and chain 2. Now for rows 11 through 12, I'm just going to show you because you're doing it both for the same thing. Again, you're going to chain 2 and do a decrease. 2 decreases in the beginning and end of the round for rows 11 through 12. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So this is row 11. This is the first decrease, second decrease, second decrease, and then half double crochet all the way around. And when you get back, remember to leave 4 stitches at the end, half double crochet till you get to your last 4 stitches, and do your 2 decreases at the end. And you're going to repeat this for row 12 as well. So for rows 11 and 12, 2 decreases in the beginning and end, and you're going to half double crochet in between. Now, again, we're just going to pretend like I did all those rows. It's actually one more row. I could have done it over again. I could have done another row. So after you do rows 11 through 12, like I said, obviously it's going to be a bit bigger than this, but this is, pretty much it's going to look. So for rows 13 through 15, you are going to do a half double crochet in every stitch around. So again, you're going to go back into the same stitch to line it up. And again, just a half double crochet all the way around for rows 13 through 15. Oop. For rows 13 through 15, 1 half double crochet in every stitch around. You are done with row 15. You're not going to sorry, hold on one moment. Okay, what I really love about this is how, like I said, obviously this is going to be bigger. You're not going to sew in anything. You're not going to, you know, how you go through every stitch and then you pull and it gets tighter. You're not going to do that. You're going to leave it open like this and attach it directly to the head so that it sits closer. You know, it's not going to look like this. It's going to be different. But you're going to leave this like it is, chain 1, and then you're going to cut your yarn off, and leave a long tail because you're going to sew in this part directly on top of the head so it looks a bit more realistic, I feel. So now we are going to be moving on to the legs. Okay, so now we're starting with the legs. Now you're changing out your needle for the 5.5 millimeter hook again, and the legs are black, but again, like I said, I'm just going to use the green yarn. So the legs are black. Now you're going to take your 5.5 millimeter hook and your black yarn, and you're going to again make a magic circle. Go into the magic circle, yarn over, and again, I must love these 10 single crochets. But again, you're going to put 10 single crochets into the magic circle. So again, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Do it one more time, yarn over again. And you're going to do 10 single crochet in the magic circle. Now again, you're going to pull your piece through, and going to slip stitch to that top stitch. And again, you don't have to add your stitch marker. I do. And you're going to chain 2. I'm sorry, I can't get my thing. Okay. Now you're going to go into this back into the same stitch to line it up. And then you're going to do 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet. Actually, no. Don't do that, because that would be considered 1 double crochet. 1 half double crochet. So you're going to go into the next stitch, don't go into the same stitch, go into the next stitch and do 1 again half double crochet, and then after that stitch you're going to do an increase. Okay, 1 and 2, and then the next stitch you're going to do a half double crochet, and then after that you are going to do in the next stitch an increase, and you're going to repeat this all the way around for the starting row. Alright, now after you do that, for rows 1 through 6, you are going to chain 2 or 3 and half double crochet in every stitch. Now in this you will go into the same stitch to line it up, and it's just a half double crochet in every stitch around for rows 1 through 6. Alright, so again, after you do rows 1 through 6, let's pretend, you're going to do a decrease, two decreases in every stitch all the way around. So again, like you do your decreases. You're going to do 1, pull up, 1, that's 1, and you're going to do, not 2 decreases, I'm sorry, 1 decrease in every stitch around. You're just going to do a decrease in every stitch around for row 7. Now for row 8, you are going to chain 2, and again you are just going to go into the next stitch, not the same stitch, but the next stitch, and do a half double crochet in every stitch around. And since you did a decrease before in the rows, you are going to, it's very easy to find the stitches because they're so stretched out, but you're going to do a half double crochet in every stitch around for row 8. And for row 9, you are just going to do a decrease in every stitch around. So like I've taught you guys, or you've seen, just going to do a decrease in every stitch around for row 9. And after that, you're going to yarn off, and we're going to move on. Now, after you finish your legs, which remember are in black yarn, after you make your 2 legs, we are moving on to the arms, which this time you will be using your 5mm hook again, and this time you will be using, let me move this, it's getting frumpled, I don't like the way that looks. You will be using your 5mm hook, and again your black yarn. Alrighty, now for the arms, again, you're going to make your magic circle, go through, and now it should be a lot easier for you because we've been doing magic circles for the majority of the pattern. And again, this time you're going to put 8 single crochet into the magic circle, and you're going to put 8 single crochet into the magic circle. And remember, these are your arms, so again you will be using black yarn for this. So that's 2 8 single crochet into the magic circle. Slip stitch, you are going to put a half double crochet in the same stitch to line it up, and then for rows 1 through 7 you are going to chain 2 or 3 and half double crochet in every stitch around for rows 1 through 7. So rows 1 through 7, do a half double crochet every stitch around. Now I only did 2 rows so it could look a bit more realistic, but you do rows 1 through 7, and then for row 8 you are going to do a decrease in every stitch around. A decrease in every stitch around, and it would be half double crochet decrease. So just a decrease in every stitch, a decrease in every stitch around for row 8. And after that, you will yarn off. Now, if you want to make your arms longer, you just add on more rows. I feel like for my Gur, his arms were, well actually no, his arms are supposed to be short. But if you do want to add on more rows for the arms and the legs, you can. You just follow the row afterwards in terms of decreases and things like that. So, after we make the arms, you're done with your arms, and now we're moving on to his cute little tail. So, again, the arms, legs, and everything besides his head and torso are green. His head and torso are green. But again, still using my green yarn, and we're going to move on to the tail. So you're going to take your, let me push this up more, I don't like the way frumpy that looks. You're going to take your 4.5 millimeter hook, and we're moving on to the tail. And you're going to be taking your black yarn with this again as well. Black yarn again. And again, you are going to do your magic circle, and you are going to put 9 single crochet into the magic circle. Oh, what is going on here? Come on. 9 single crochet into the magic circle. 1, 2, and 9 in all. Something really funny just happened where I was trying to move the yarn and my camera flipped over. But obviously it's going to be cut out, so okay, so after you do your magic circle, ooh, let's not make that same mistake again. Okay, so after you made your magic circle, again, 9 single crochet, pull through, slip stitch through, and chain 2. And for rows 1 through 3, you are going to chain, for rows 1 through 3, you are going to half double crochet in every stitch around. So go back into the same stitch to line it up, and for rows 1 through 3, you are just going to half double crochet in every stitch. Oh, come on. And every stitch around for rows 1 through 3. I did one more row just to make it, again, look more realistic. And for row 4, after you do rows 1 through 3, sorry, I'm trying to get my stitch marker in. For row 4, you're going to chain 2, and you're going to do 2 decreases in the beginning and end of the row. Now remember, a decrease takes up 2 stitches, and if you're doing 2, it takes up 4. So remember to leave 4 stitches open at the end and half double crochet in between for row 4. For row 5, you are going to chain 2 and do a decrease in every stitch around. Now we're moving on to the ears, and again you're going to keep your 4.5 millimeter hook and your black yarn, and you are going, this time you're going to chain 4, so no more magic circles. You're going to chain 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and you are going to half double crochet down the row. So go into the next stitch and do a half double crochet, all the way down the stitch, or all the way down the row. Ooh, come on. And then for rows, that's your starting row, and for rows 1 through 4, you're going to go back into the same stitch to line it up, and you're going to do 1 half double crochet in every stitch around for rows 1 through 4. For row 5, after you do rows 1 through 4, for row 5, you are going to go into the same stitch to line it up, and you are going to half double crochet down the row until you get to the last stitch, and in the last stitch you are going to do an increase. So the same thing in the same thing in the same stitch. Then you're going to chain 2 and turn. For row 6, you are going to half double crochet down the entire row for row 6. Now chain 2, that's row 6. For row 7, you are going to chain 2 and half double crochet down the row. Remember, going to the same stitch, line it up. Half double crochet down the row until you get to the last stitch, and then you are going to do an increase in that last stitch again. And then chain 2, and you are going to do an increase in every stitch across for row 8. Just put an increase in every stitch around. And you're going to make 2 of these for the ears, and then yarn off and leave a tiny tail so that you can sew them to the top of the head. And then we're going to move on to the eyes. Now, of course, we're moving on to the pupils, or the eyes in this case. Come on. Moving on to the eyes. And the pupils start with white. So you're going to take your white yarn and your 5.5 millimeter hook, and you are going to again make a magic circle. And once you make your magic circle, you are going to put 10 single crochet into that magic circle. Now, after you do your 10 single crochet, you are going to chain, slip stitch, chain 2, and you are going to do an increase in every stitch around. So don't go back into the same stitch, go into the next stitch and do an increase in every stitch around for row 1. Okay. And for row, after you do your increase in every stitch, that's how it's going to look like. You're going to chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2. Make sure to remember to pull your thing because it does untighten. And then for row 2, you are going to go back into the same stitch, line it up, do a half double crochet, and you're just going to half double crochet in every stitch around for row 2. After you do that, you will have to sew in your pupils, which is just going to be a thing of black yarn, and you're just going to sew it over top of the pupil. So go in with the needle, go in from the back, have the yarn already on your hook, go in from the back like this, pull up the yarn, go back in on another part to put the yarn over top of it, and it's a tiny pupil, and pull through, and you can just tie your thing behind it because this is going to be glued onto the head. So after you are done with that, we're going to move on to our zipper, which is gray. I don't know why I have white here. For the zipper, you're going to be taking your gray yarn, and you are going to you're going to chain 6, and you're going to keep your 5.5 millimeter hook and your gray yarn, and you are going to chain 6. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you're going to single crochet down this row. So single crochet, you go in, pull up a loop. That's 2, pull up a loop, go pull through all 2. So remember, it's single crochet. You've been doing half double crochets for, you start out with single crochet and you end with half double crochet. So be mindful of that, to not to do a half double crochet by mistake, because I've done that before. So single crochet all the way down the row. I'm going to chain 2 and turn, and for rows 1 through 7 you are going to half double crochet down the row. So again, yarn over, go through the same stitch to line it up, put a half double crochet and a half double crochet all the way down the row for rows 1 through 7. So after you finish the zipper, you are going to, we're going towards the buckle. And you're going to take your 4.5 millimeter hook again, and your gray yarn once again, and you are again going to chain. I'm going to do a chain this time, not a magic circle. I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excuse me. Chain 4 and single crochet down the row. And this is a starting row. So for row 1, you are going to go back into the same stitch, turn your yarn, chain 1, go back into the same stitch, and single crochet down the row. And then for row 2, you are going to chain 1 and single crochet again down the row. Make sure you go back into the same stitch. Single crochet down the row until you get to the last stitch, which you shouldn't be that far off from, until you get to the last stitch, and then you do an increase in the last stitch. Oh, come on. And that is your buckle. Now, you're going to yarn off, you did your zipper, and we are going to move on to our tongue, which is red. And again, 4.5 millimeter hook. You might have to pause it somewhere along here, because I know I did that pretty fast. So for your tongue, excuse me, for the tongue, you're again going to take your 4.5 millimeter hook, and you're again going to chain 4. So chain 4, single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry you couldn't see that. Single crochet down the entire row. Whoop, what happened there? Single crochet down the entire row. And then that's the starting row, and for row 1, you're just going to single crochet down the row. Remember to go back into the same stitch. And turn your work. For row 2, you're going to turn, and you're going to go back to the same stitch again to line it up for row 2. Whoop, and single crochet all the way down the row until you get to the last stitch, and then you are going to do an increase in the last stitch. Okay, Now afterwards you can do the border. You're going to do the border black, and you are going to you can either slip stitch around the border, or you can single crochet around the border, whatever works for you, but the tongue is going to be sitting like this. And if you don't want to add a border, you don't have to, but I feel like it looked more realistic, so add a border to it with black yarn, either in single crochet or slip stitch. It's all your preference. And now we are going to be moving on to his nose. And I think that'll be the last part of the video. So, again, like I said, you're probably going to have to pause somewhere in here. For the nose, again, and lastly, your 4.5 millimeter hook and black yarn this time because his nose is black. And you are going to, again, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then single crochet down the row. Just this is the starting row. And then you're going to chain 1 and turn, and you're going to single crochet into the first stitch, which is a stitch that makes it line it up. So go back into that stitch and so you can line it up like we've been doing. Then you're going to go into the next stitch and do a single crochet decrease. So it's just a decrease just with the stitch you're using. So instead of, since it's a single crochet decrease, you're going to go in like you're going to do a single crochet, pull up a loop, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and pull through all 3, and that's your decrease. So you're going to chain 1 and turn. Let's see. And I believe that is your nose. So you're going to I chained 1, and you're going to yarn off, and you're going to sew that to his face as well. So leave a semi-long tail for that as well. So I'm going to bring the GUR that I've already made to show you just how to assemble it, or you can go back to my my original GUR video and see how I assemble him, which I feel like will be a lot easier.